Once you realize how powerful you really are, once you realize that the brain doesn't know the difference between the true and the false. So if you start acting in a way that's not supposed to, it will happen. You start to have that drive every day. We have 5 offices: Dallas, San Antonio, Manchester, London, Switzerland, and Spain. Every one of the offices gets $5,000. It's up to the staff to donate that. So when people come, or they see people, or gas station, or, someone's going through a rough time, or they're having a cup of tea somewhere, give them $100. And if it's not gone by the end of the month, I will take the remainder out of your wages. It's kind of a joke, but it makes them get rid of that $5,000, But if you're in that place, guys, and most people know what I'm talking about, if you're in that place where life doesn't look too attractive at once, I would rather you text me than hear of your suicide or death next week. I will give you a 15-minute, not going to cost you anything, pep talk that'll change your life. And if it doesn't, here's where people think I'm crazy. I'm going to send you $100 for wasting your time.
Raw, uncut, and unapologetic. Welcome to Men Talking Mindfulness. The search for meaning and purpose isn't just some lofty ideal. It's a gritty, universal struggle that every one of us faces. Whether you're chasing the elusive big P purpose or finding those everyday little p moments, purpose is baked into the essence of our humanity. Nobody has it all figured out, but understanding this quest is half the battle. To help us unpack this universal mystery, we brought in Dr. Robb Kelly, joining us again today on Men Talking Mindfulness. His third, he's like, you're in a very elite audience here, or group there, Dr. Kelly. We've only had, I think, maybe 2 other people that have gone 3 times on this show.
I think he's the only one.
I think, I don't know.
I think
it's close. It's close.
Seth and Teresa have done 2.
Maybe. That's awesome.
Maybe Dr. Shauna Springer, but yeah.
Dr. Robb, he's been through hell, homelessness, addiction, suicidal ideations, and Dr. Robb came out swinging with a mission. One thing we love about Dr. Robb, he doesn't sugarcoat it. He doesn't let people off the hook. Dr. Robb, welcome back to the show. Great to see you, my brother.
Thank you, guys. Hey, guys, great to see you at home. It's going to be a good one. Might need to sit down for this.
Yeah, there you go.
Might need to sit down indeed. Yep. I think Will and I are both sitting down. Sometimes we stand for this one, but we had a feeling this might be one that we had to sit down for. So good to see you, Dr. Robb. Welcome back to the show. Will, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for that intro. And I'll jump in with a couple of real quick announcements. We're doing the Spartan race in October. And if you're looking for a way to get up off your butt and actually do something physical, have a physical challenge, hey, join us for this Spartan race, October 19th. We're going to be in Dallas, or close to Dallas anyway. So head to mentalkingmindfulness.com for all the details. And, if you like to help us as well, help the show, you can become a sponsor. And that's also, the information on that is also on mentalkingmindfulness.com. We sure would appreciate your help in that. And that all said, Dr. Robb, you're familiar with our show. We like to start it off with a grounding practice. So if you feel comfortable joining us, we'd love to have you. We're just going to be one simple grounding breath. So, all right, here we go. So for all of us, the 3 of us here, and for our audience tuning in, go ahead and note your feet on the ground and bring yourself into this space, this time. Exhaling, emptying out, holding empty, and then a nice long, slow, deep breath in, holding full at the top, and releasing. Nice and slow, nice and slow. Nice and slow. Now bring some movement back into your body, wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, rolling your shoulders. All right. And let's get into this. Will, I'll turn it over to you, my brother.
All right. Well, Dr. Robb, you said before that the problem isn't the drinking, it's the thinking, and we've had George Mumford, he goes, it's the stinking thinking. So what role does purpose play in shifting that mindset?
Well, it's full on as far as we're concerned. The purpose is lost once we get tied up in the mental illness. We call it wellness. When there's any psych problems going on, the purpose gets tied up with suffering, with delusion and insanity and direction, and it's not just when people talk about addiction. It's like, alcohol has 1% to do with alcohol. It isn't the same with everything else. It's like we lose our purpose. We lose our identity around that. And it's really important that, the studies and tests, we probably spent about $1 million over the last, 15 years studying the brain and what comes as part of anxiety, depression, alcoholism, what's it really about. And I think once we reroute and retrain brains and reroute neural pathways and the three parts of the brain I always talk about, then we can see not only our identity, but our true purpose. And I don't think anybody, whether suffering from anything or if you're amazing, should go through life without finding identity and your purpose. We're all here for a reason, guys. Wouldn't it be amazing if you found yours and you could do that for a living? Wow.
Yeah, right.
Yes, I think that's one of the reasons Will and I are doing what we're doing. I would like to say that we've fallen into our purpose, but actually I wouldn't like to say that. I think we've been very intentional about finding this purpose. We've done some reflective work, internal work, and here we are. And for you, Dr. Robb, we appreciate your coming on the show multiple times to help us express that purpose, live that purpose. And for our audience, thank you for listening, because you are our purpose as well, or part of it, a big part of it. So Dr. Robb, so we've had you on the show, but some of our listeners may have missed those previous episodes. You went from Oxford as a successful music career, or with a successful music career. And then you went to complete homelessness, addiction. What was your lowest moment in that?
There were two lowest moments. One of the lowest moments, and they kind of are, one would imagine, with each other. The day I came home after the incident with my wife, fled to Spain, attempted murder charge out on me, come back, everything was dropped. It was the time when my wife took my children. So the police there, the services were there, the child protection was there, her mom was there. And I'd been 2 days in a stupor, supposed to be looking after the children for 2 days, ages 1 and 3. They'd not been changed or anything. They took my daughter, who was like 3 years old, and she's holding mommy's hand, 3 or 4. And she said the 3 things. She says, Daddy, please don't go. And as they're walking down the path, this entourage of people trying to protect the children. And I'm at the door crying, one of the officers crying. It's just a sad scene. She turned around again and said, Daddy, please get better. And as they got to the gate, they opened the gate and she turned around the last time and she says, Daddy, please stop drinking. And it was like everything there hit me right there. And it was the worst time of my life. It really was, when we're in the moment, we don't realize how much people are hurting. When we're in the moment, we don't realize that we're insane and it's not us that suffered. I was in a stupor, a detox, alcoholism all the time. I never detox. I was always drinking 24 hours a day. So I don't get to see the pain, the remorse, all the stuff, the suffering that I caused. But right there and then it hit me straight away on that doorstep. This is what you've caused and there's something wrong. Now, did it stop me drinking? No. And the other one was on the streets, of course, the first night on the streets, and just sat there going, what the hell just went wrong? It's like, wow, it was so quick, guys. I mean, obviously alcoholism takes its time, but when it happened so quick for me, within like a month, lost the house, the cars, the kid, and I sat on the streets. It was vicious. It was really vicious. So they're part from my lowest point.
And that, I mean, you went from being highly successful as far as the world sees, right? You have the cars, you have the money, you have the house, to being homeless. And now you've come back. I mean, right before we hit record, you were talking about purchasing your dream car, the new Bentley $250,000 car, which, the world will definitely see that as successful. I certainly would love to have a $250,000 car. But the other side of success is finding your purpose, which we're here to talk about, right? Finding your purpose, not only finding it, but living it. And a lot of people hit those hard seasons, maybe not that lowest part that you just talked about. I mean, that sounds brutal. We've talked about that on previous episodes, and I can't imagine having kids myself, having my kids ripped away from me and saying something that, I mean, just tore your heart apart like that. Most people hit those hard seasons and then they just kind of go day to day trying to survive. What made you fight to come back with your purpose?
As many might know, the story ended up on the streets. One morning I cried out to God as an atheist, and it kind of all turned around then. But I didn't have any any dreams of coming off the streets. 93% of people on the streets where I live, Manchester, England, died on the streets. So I was under no illusion. I actually died twice on the streets and they brought me back, guys. So it happened by pure, what I used to call a mistake. I shouted out, I can't do this on my own, God. Guy walked around the corner, he took me back to his house, went to a meeting with him, met John, and the rest is history. But I always thought that if I ever got off the streets, you see, when I first got off the streets, guys, on the streets, I was angry. And I was angry at the medical fraternity and everybody else that kept saying, well, just stop drinking. And I couldn't understand why I couldn't do that. If you give me a challenge, I'm going to compete it. I have the addictive personality, with the alcoholic brain. I'm either going to do it or I'm not. You're either present or you're not. There's no middle of the road for me. I couldn't understand why I couldn't put the drink down and leave it there. I mean, it could for a day or a week. I think I did 2 weeks at one time, but sooner or later it came back. So only looking back do you realize that all that was a plan. My homelessness was like a semester at Harvard University because the knowledge I learned from there, I was taught. Yeah. So, yeah, but it was, I wouldn't wish why I went for my worst enemy. I mean, things are still coming back today that I'd forgotten about. Stroke, blocked out. Into the subconscious brain, no longer to be seen. But then it comes out in traits. And one of the reasons that I like to think I'm successful is I was angry that nobody had the answer. I was angry that it's not about the alcohol. See, I was outside a liquor store once. I think I was homeless at the time. It was 5:30 in the morning or something like that. I've got a pair of shorts on, vest, and a pair of flip-flops. It's snowing, and I'm sweating profusely. The guy lets me in, and for whatever reason on this time, I couldn't speak. My shaking badly, I was sweating. Put my 10 pound on the couch, and the guy, lovely Pakistani guy, God bless that guy, he put the bottle, and for whatever reason, this happened. Shakes went, sweat set, I was clear-headed, and I remember, it's like in slow motion, I remember looking at the guy, looking back at the bottle, going, holy moly, it's not about the alcohol. That's my purpose when I came off the streets, is we were the first people to introduce the family systems. You don't bring the family into treatment centers to bosh the husband, well, he does this, and if you don't, no. They're both suffering from a disease, they're both suffering from PTSD and probably him alcoholism. So if you heal the both, it makes it, when the spouse takes part in the treatment of, let's say, alcoholic, the success rate goes up by 42% instantly when they're both. So that was my purpose coming off the streets. Never thought I would, but so glad that I did, man. So glad.
We are too. I mean, here you are with this conversation we're having. And I heard someone describe the opposite of addiction is connection. And I was like, wow. I mean, it's like, and that's what why AA is so incredibly powerful, and still, it's just such an incredible program. And what you're talking about, it's like, bringing people together to support, to love, to connect, to be open, to really, to love, to hug. But let's about purpose, like what can finding a purpose or aspiring to a purpose that really comes from a deep place inside of you, can it change the brain and your neural pathways? I think it'd be a good thing for our audience to know.
I mean, a great question. We've never been asked that before. Great question. It can, yes. And we all need a job in life. And I don't mean a 9-to-5. We all need a job. We all need a purpose. We all need a drive. We all need, whether it's children, whether it's working, you got that job at the gas station, working from 9 to 5 or midnight to midnight. It's brilliant. You've got it. Everything's good. But so many things can change pertaining to the mind and the body. So to be happy every single day, there's 4 chemicals, 4 neurotransmitters that's needed. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. We all know that. But the interesting part of this is 2 of them chemicals, the most important chemicals, the dopamine and serotonin, they're created in the stomach. They're created in the gut. So when we have our gut feeling, it's something that we need to do. If we have a gut feeling there's something wrong, or should I buy that house? Then the gut feeling is real. It goes back to the tribal days. So when that's flowing, when you find your purpose and you really understand, you need to clear a childhood trauma, uncover, discover, discard of that. You can't do it on your own. The brain needs to be rewired away from self-sabotaging behavior, because there's a part in the brain called the basal ganglia, and it's tightly connected to the subconscious brain. And it's like a clock. The more times we do this, whatever it is, drive a car, laugh, the more it becomes a working part of the brain. So the problem with trauma from the past, and everybody has trauma from the past, is it becomes a working part of the brain. So we put it into layman's terms, which is people that are still suffering from childhood trauma don't think we'll ever be blonde enough, tall enough, thin enough, or rich enough. They're always chasing something that's not there. So when I tell people, when people tell me this, I disliked it a lot. It's just for today. Well, just for today is not an AA thing. First of all, they stole that nicely. Previous. But one day at a time, met that 2 or 3 parts of the brain reset every 24 hours. So when we get up tomorrow, it's a brand new day. So we have today. We don't have tomorrow. We don't have time. Everybody thinks they have time. Moms, waving off to kindergarten. Next minute, they say, I'm waving off to college. If we could just really get into what time is and how fast it slips through our fingers, life would become more important. You see, it's great to have money. Like rich, poor twice. Okay, I choose rich every time. I can help people and stuff like that. But we have to realize what today is. And it comes down to, are you loved? Do you love? Can you take things in your stride? Can you plan out the day? Can you help others? Can you communicate with others? Somebody asked me the other day, why have you got 25 pair of glasses, all different crazy
I've noticed.
and the answer wasn't what they expected. And I said, the conversation starters. It's like, what? I said, when somebody comes, oh my God, them glasses, because everybody knows somebody who's suffering from alcohol or drug addiction. And if they don't, it's probably you. That's why I do that. Are you in that state of mind where all your needs are being met today? Are you at a state of mind where you don't have we can't have bad days. I have better days than others, but how can I have a bad day, man? And it's realizing that this is it. You talk about your life, it's today. It's not 20 years. It's today. Once you sort the back, anxiety, worrying about the future, depression, worrying about the past. Once you get in that moment, your DNA changes, guys. Why is that important? I'm not the same person as I was before. And then it's about saving lives. And then it's about complimenting people. And then it's about driving past the gas station when I'm blessed enough to see a woman there with 7 kids in the back, squeezing out $10. Really? So we set something in our offices, and it's this. Everybody gets $5,000 every month. At the first of the month, they get $5,000 in cash and they put it in the safe. If that $5,000 is still there at the end of the month, we take that out of your wages. In other words, get rid of it. Find the good cause, get rid of it. We do not want $5,000 sat in that safe for weeks and weeks and weeks doing no good. Get rid of it. And we take that very seriously. Oh, look at Dr. O, he's got this, he's got that. Guys, you really need to really research me. We do a lot of work. The money, it keeps my wife happy and pays the mortgages, guys. My job is to save lives. My job is to include you in everything I do. My job is to make you feel more powerful and have a smile on your face when you leave my company. That's it. And when I say my company, I don't mean theirs. I mean me being with you. And that's my purpose for life,
So let me just understand that little piece again. So the people that work for you, they each put $5,000 in the safe at the beginning of the month.
No. So we have 5 offices: Dallas, San Antonio, Manchester, London, Switzerland, and Spain. I don't count this one. Every one of their offices gets $5,000. That the one that's running the office, like Manchester, my daughter runs it. She gets $5,000 every month. She takes out, she sticks in the safe. It's up to the staff to donate that. So when people come, or they see people, or gas station, or someone's going through a rough time, or they're having a cup of tea somewhere, give them $100. And if it's not gone by the end of the month, I will take the remainder out of your wages. It's kind of a joke, but it makes them get rid of that $5,000, and it's something we've done for the last probably year or so, where somebody came to the house wanting money, and Janet said, yeah, there's $10,000 in the safe. And I said, $10,000? Wow, how long's that been there? Oh, God, it's been there about a year. What use is that money in my safe when there's people dying out there, when there's people can't feed their freaking children? So a spark off that, we started a yearly thing that me and my wife do. is we call around every school in San Antonio and we ask them, do you have a lunch debt? And at first it was like, what? Why are you calling? We pay off lunch debts around San Antonio. Any school once a year will go in, might be 30 kids that can't eat because the mom and dad can't afford to pay off the debt for the lunch. I was horrified when I heard this. So we pay off lunch debts once a year.
Wow. Well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, it helps people. I would imagine that, like, creating that kind of habit or philosophy, and actually, I mean, you almost force it on them in some ways, like, get rid of the money or I'll take the money. Like, you really start looking outside of yourself to be like, oh wait, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? And I mean, that's just talk about activating yourself more deeply from the inside, you know, to really connect with other human beings that really need some help. And that $100 or whatever it is, right? Exactly. And that can change that person's life. Or just take a moment where, you know, where they realize that there are good humans out there and I'm not suffering so much right now. And maybe they start making different choices that, you know, lead them eventually to their purpose, or at least, you know, to making a different choice that can help them maybe lift themselves into a different situation. I mean, that's wonderful, Dr. Robb. I mean, smart. Where'd you come up with that? How'd that come to you?
Yeah, it came to us on the streets and people would give me money. And I thought, without that £5, I could not buy that alcohol that kept me alive. But yeah, it's really, really important for me and all my staff. All my staff are recovering alcoholics, PTSD, you know, drug addicts. We all know what it's like to be there. So we've all got to move forward in a way that would change the world. I mean, mine's an easy case. You look at me and, you know, I'm controversial a lot, not today as much as I used to be, but not everybody, I'm sorry. People are jealous about what I have today, but nobody's jealous how I got here. Is my biggest saying. So when you see all the glitz, you've got to look behind that. You've got to look that this is for the TV and look. When you come into my clinics, you'll see me. You'll see me here till midnight. You'll see me speed into somebody's house, jumping on the jet, whatever we've got to do to help. And there are hundreds of people right now that we're working with. We have a room specially to help moms and dads, or wives or husbands. So if let's say your child is going through it, or your husband, the wife, let's say it's the man again, sorry, the wife can call this number from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. and you can chat, you get help, you get advice. It will not cost you a dime. In actual fact, we're probably going to send you money if he's gone off the rails and you haven't got, you know, food for the children. But that phone number is there. There's people manning that from 8 to 8, and you can talk 100 times a day if you need to get through it. It's things like that once you're living in the moment, you realize that makes a difference. Not the car outside.
Right.
That's the difference right there. That's when somebody can say, you really? And before you ask, Will, that came from my parents. Was I was going through, they were on their own. There's two things that happened to me. Is one when my father threw me out. One night, they caught me drinking in the house after my marriage was split up, and he threw me out. He said, 10 o'clock at night, he said, son, you got to go. He gave me £10, probably $100 today. And he threw me out. Many years later, I'm having a cup of tea with my mom and dad's at the bar with his friends. And I said, do you remember when dad threw me out? My mom said, oh, yeah, I couldn't, you know. I said, I never really forgave that man for that long.
Mm.
And she said, in 52 years of being married to your father, that's the only time I saw him cry.
Mm. Oh, wow.
So if we can be that guy, if we can be that savior, if we can be the Derek, the John that's surrounding me, I mean, if we can be that guy today, isn't that the world? Isn't that what we're here for? Isn't that, you know, the things that we have around us, material, it's easier to say for me, I guess, than most, but I've been, you know, the homeless thing. It's like, I don't want it all. 25% goes back out the community every single year. We just started the Robb Kelly nonprofit every single year, because what's the point? What's the point of getting all this money and going, okay, I'm off to an island now. I'm buying a house on the coast, you know, bye-bye. What's the point of that? I might as well go drink.
Yeah, you're not taking that with you.
100%.
Right. Well, it's just going to be continue emptying. I'd imagine it would just contribute to more of that emptiness and stuff like. But to give back, to connect to more people, to help other lives, it's like that's what really so much. That's what, you know, John and I were talking. You know, talk about purpose. It's like, you know, we're here I mean, not to be famous or this or that. Like we know the impact we're having with so many different people out there, so many different men, because we get emails and messages and or just people come up and talk to us when we're on retreats or something like that. And it's just like, this just drives us forward. And here we are, like 5 years later, you're on the third time, Dr. Robb, because we all share the same, vision in some ways. It's like, how do we help and create opportunities to reach more people? And then who knows, just by listening, what can really change for them. One thing with, I think what's interesting about purpose is, and I don't want to disenfranchise like people out there. It's like, I think there's a big P and a little p when it comes to purpose, because some people might think of purpose like it's a zero-sum game. It's like, if I'm not doing, being the artist that I wanted to be when I was like 15 or 16 years old, then I'm an absolute failure in life. And I thought I'd create, and we can talk about it, like a little bit of a distinction between like big P purpose, which as I was going through and researching the show, you can think of big P purpose as is the reason for being. Like it's what gets you up out of bed every morning. It's kind of your guiding principle. It's your central focus that gives like a lot of meaning and direction to your life. But then little p is kind of really speaks to more of like this experience and this this fulfillment that comes from doing things that really make you kind of happy. And I've heard a term. Or I read a term that says process-oriented purpose. And this is more of that, again, emotional state of happiness and completeness that comes with living in alignment, to values and achieving meaningful goals. So it's like, if you have a 9-to-5 job, it doesn't mean like the other hours of your life, can't like be filled with something that really is meaningful, like gardening, or maybe like like to make furniture or something like that, or like to go fishing. But it gives you this sense of it just wakes up the body in a way, but also creates a good positive loop. Another thing I thought was interesting as I was researching this, it's like you can do a lot in the job that you have, to create meaning and purpose, not just for yourself, but other people in that organization. So I was wondering if you had any thoughts there, Dr. Robb, about like big P, little p purpose, and what maybe you see with your students that you work with.
The big P for me is the drive I have every morning. I'm blessed enough to have the right wife that she's just a great partner. She's my best friend. I'm 64. My wife's 62. And we get up every morning, right? The alarm goes off. We get up every morning. We go into the bathroom. We let the dogs out of the cage. We have 2 English bulldogs. We all dance in the bathroom, including the dogs. First, no teeth brush, no nothing. We get the music on. We're dancing. We're twirling. That for me is my big P. Walking the dogs, letting them off on the grounds, letting them run around. And we're just having a good old time from the time we get up to the time to go to bed. And then we come down to the smaller, intimate P's, the smaller P's where today I try and make a difference in everybody. Now, again, I'm blessed. I have a restaurant next door called the Old English Tea Shop, where we serve English food and high teas and pie and sausage, fish and chips, all that. I have a platform of at least 60 people, 70 every day that I can go in and make people's days. And everybody's doing silly stuff. Like mom and dad will come in, first time here. I've got 2 little tots. As they're going out, I'll say to mom, is it okay to give them chocolate? Oh, yeah. And I'll give them a piece of chocolate or a candy each as you walk through the door. Now, the kids don't care. They just got it. You're going to eat chocolate. Great. But what does that do to the moms? I've just taken notice of their loved ones. Okay. I've noticed them and now I know their names. And that's cost me about $4 to walk out the door with his candy and cookies and stuff. That's my small P. That's somebody calling and saying, hey, Rob, have you got time for lunch? Yeah, have you got time for a 10-minute phone call? And Courtney mentioned Smile. She usually calls, look, I got this podcast. Are you good with it now? She says, oh, by the way, John and Will, you're seeing them next week. I'm like, oh, very cool. It's like you say having me here on for the third time as a guest. Look at it from my point of view. I am busy, obviously, and I don't think any other podcast have been on more than once. But you guys on this, like, we think the same. You're amazing what you do. I love you guys, man. And, wait till I want a bottle of something. I want a bottle of orange juice on my 100th appearance, okay?
That's awesome. We got a lot of work to do, John, to get bring Dr. Robb back for his 100th show. We got to be in the 500.
Just 97 more. Just 97 more episodes, just with Dr. Robb.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Dr. Robb, we talked about the big P, the little P there for yourself. For others, finding that big P and that little P. So a big purpose, why you're here. Little P is like why you do the small things that you do. Do you think most people kind of do their life or fall into their life, their living by default? Or do you think they're intentional about designing? Like I read a book and I actually did the workbook called Designing Your Life. I think that had a lot to do with what I'm doing now. At one point I was seeking validation through finding a lot of money or working for a lot of money. And then I was seeking validation through the car that I drove and all this stuff. But we've already discussed that's not it. Yeah, it might be nice to have, but it's not your purpose. Why are you living? And did you find that why? Did you find that big P and those little P's by default or design? What do you think for most people?
A lot of people are stuck. A lot of people are stuck in who they've become, being told by previous people, parents, caregivers, who they are. So they get stuck in this Monday, every day is the same thing. You hear people, what day is it today? Once you realize how powerful you really are, once you realize that the brain doesn't know the difference between the true and the false. So if you start acting a way that's not supposed to, it will happen. You start to have that drive every day of watching people thrive. Someone said the other day, I've met a lot of doctors and they just don't want you to get as good as them. They always want to be, I don't want you to do as good as me, guys. I want you to do better than me. You don't understand what I've been through and millions of others. My story is no harsher than the next person, but to live the way I do now and know quite well that you can live the way you want to now, stop waiting. Nobody's coming, guys. Nobody's knocking at the door with that $1 million check or that girl or guy. Nobody's coming. It's up to us, okay? And the world we live in today is a bit scary. You want to stop 80% of fear? Turn the TV off for a few days.
Yeah, no kidding.
Go home, don't put it on, don't get in the routine. You get up in the morning, do something different, smell the grass, the roses, have the drive to work, get on the bus, whatever it is. But happiness is not found out there. No car, house, no. The happiness is an inside job, guys. And it's how you perceive yourself today as a human being. Am I being kind and courteous? The biggest kick I get, like I said, is donating or giving money to somebody. It's because I'm blessed enough to do that, I think once you find that purpose, God will give you a bigger platform. And that bigger platform is where the work starts. I mean, when I did my first TV show, when they first threw me private on a private jet, all them things kind of might send you skewed off to one side because now you think you're all that, and stuff like that. But the idea is nobody is, man. If you're following the right thing to do and God's directing you, there's 3,000 gods, just freaking pick one. But as long as you're living that life and it's like an infection. Instead of alcoholism infecting everybody else around, joy, happiness, smiles, loud, stupid clothes, people around me, it makes them smile, So I think it's a great question, and it's one that we should be living every day.
Yeah. I just had an opportunity this past weekend, and one of the missions that I know that I'm on, and thankful for this platform that we've created and all like the work I put in New York to be the teacher that I am and have the reputation that I do now. It's like, I'm realizing that, teaching more meditation is a big part of my purpose. And I just taught a little workshop here in the city for 16 brand new students to meditation, for like 90 minutes. And it just felt so good to see them wake up, to be shaking their heads, to have this experience. I'm getting some feedback, and it's like, changing lives, like make it bigger than yourself. And it leaves me, like you're right, Dr. Robb, like it leaves me with this feeling of elation or happiness every time I get done with the show. Like it's like this great, proud, happy moment, but then there's also like the sadness too, because it's like, oh, it's fucking over. And then we have like, and then it's like, it's almost like a fix, Dr. Robb, if you will. Like we have a podcast addiction, John and I, because every week we're working towards another show.
We're getting the dopamine, the endorphins, the oxytocin, the serotonin.
Connection, right. We got Dr. Robb, and his awesome, like we get to experience your energy today, or another guest. I hear about your passion. It just like becomes this, this very flywheel of passion, like that kind of flows as we continually produce the show. But what about people that come to your office that you're working with that are feeling like numb or lost? Like, where do you start with them?
So the first, obviously, the call either by them or from obviously some. When people first come, they're suffering from a couple of things. Now, we branched out into entrepreneurship. We teach sales guys now, all that stuff. But let's go to our basic cause, which was addictions at birth. So the anterior cingulate cortex, which is part of the brain, underacts when there's fear, tension, addiction, all that stuff. So what happens is people come in feeling now because the brains make them feel. It goes into it goes smaller. The anterior cingulate cortex decreases and it kind of stops that. A lot of the time, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex will be added to that.
Can I ask you, Dr. Robb? Does that get smaller, or what? Because is that the part of the brain that really begins to activate and grow with passion, or is it
eventually? Yes, eventually,
okay.
Yes. But during the times of what they're going through, it will decrease. So it affects all different areas. You see people in AA all the time. I'm just numb. I can't make it. And my emotions are all of no. That's the part of the brain telling you that this is where we are right now. And you have to really express that. You can't just let it go by and expect everything to be okay. It won't be okay. I'm sorry, I forgot the original question.
No. So just about how do you get people shifting out of numb or being lost right into at least seeing life with some sort of direction or purpose?
Well, the one we like to use, and it's a bit sneaky, we do a lot of subliminal messaging. So when people come in for the first time, we work in our secret away here. We get names, we get address, we get phone numbers, spouse's name, all that stuff. We're ready to go. And about 3 or 4 days before they come in, my research guys goes out there and they troll him on the internet. You find out what he's into, what he does, and the kids have got, what the kids name it. So we've got all these background sorted when they come in. Let's say. So what people say, how come I come in here for one session and I feel amazing? I've been going to my therapist for like 2 years. It's like, I'll tell you why right now. So let's say you're in Texas, San Antonio, you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. We'd found that by all your social medias. Okay, you've been to a live game 3 times, you usually watch on TV. When you drive into our complex in the car park, you'll get out and there will be a discarded cowboy kind of coat or cowboy beer or whatever it is in the, like a hat, so in the head so you can't see it, but subliminally, you can see it. You take notice of that. You walk to our door, you buzz the bell, opens up. There's the girl in the Cowboys shirt, Cowboys t-shirt. And then, oh my God, you love the Cowboys. Oh yeah, we love the Cowboys. He comes into reception. There's a Cowboys game playing. It was one of the best games he'd ever played. And now he's looking at it and he's getting familiar. And all of a sudden anxiety's going and the fear's going. And then another girl comes out. Would you like a cup of tea, coffee? If it's water, we've had the logos Cowboys put on the water. If it's coffee, we get the mugs with Dallas Cowboys on. So automatically now he feels as if he's part of the team because he feels validated. He feels wanted and loved. So by the time he comes in to see me, he's ready to go. And he can't, but it's like, wow. So that's how we start it off. And I think most people's troubles, I know most people's troubles is the past, is the trauma that they're stuck in, the childhood trauma. Once you give them a glimpse, and we will go to any length. Let me tell you something. Was in Dallas office. He was a young kid, 19 years old, never have a girlfriend, slight Asperger's. Mom and dad were awesome. What he'd helped. It's the first time he was Alzheimer's. He always wanted a girlfriend, but never had the confidence to get one. It's decent looking like, We hired part of Trinity Hall, which was an Irish pub. We blocked off half of it in there. Okay. Marius, the owner, brilliant. We got 12 actresses in and we sat them at all these tables. The stage was set. They all knew what was going on. The key word was Mustang. So if we sat at your table, you had to say, I've got to go down and put more money in. I don't want my Mustang being towed. So we went in the bar. We're still at the bar. We get drinks, orange juice and stuff. And I said, listen, if you had any choice of any girl in here, let's say, because you look better looking than you think you are, which would it be? He goes, well, the girl over there, the blonde girl. I said, oh my God, that's awesome. Come on. He's like, what do you mean? Come on. And he grabbed the bar and I kind of pulled him off and we walked over and we sat down. And I said, hey, girls, we're going to join you. This is my friend, blah, blah, blah. And we started talking. And one of the girls went, I've got a Mustang. I've got a Mustang. You've got So then two got in this Mustang talk, and the actress and me come away, and they were talking there for 2 hours. They didn't date because that was part of the deal. But about 3 or 4 weeks later, he was dating. That guy's married today with 3 children. That's the stuff we'll go to. So they go, what's the difference between you? Oh my God, we will do anything and everything to make sure we get you to the place. Because one thing we can't do is tell lies. One thing we can't do is say you're amazing when you're not really amazing. Oh, you're absolutely a stud and you should be a movie star when you don't look like a movie star. We can't do that. We can't hype you up into something you're not, but we can create that guy. Everybody's changeable. Everybody can live the dream. Everybody can do whatever they want to be or whatever they want to do. And years ago, when I came to America, I used to say, you can be anybody you want to do. And the first thing most Americans said was, I can't be president of the United States. Let's forget our political views. I don't have any, so I'm good. We had a business around the country for 4 years with no political experience whatsoever. Don't you dare tell me you can't achieve your dreams. Somebody's put that there. It's not true. You can literally be anybody you want to be. So that's how we start. We use the medical grade red light therapy. We use 9D, which is part of the breath box. We use psychology, neuro-linguistic programming, somatic experience, all this NLP, all this great stuff to change from within. So once they're familiar, we can get to them a lot quicker than most people do. I don't think there's anybody doing what we do in the world. I've always prided myself with that. Now, we've come up against a lot of crap of people wanting to challenge us, and you can challenge as much as you want. I have a passion for this. I'm aggressive about this, as you guys know. I don't take any shit of anybody. You don't, man. And if you really want to start living the life, stop giving a shit what people think about you. I mean, that's huge. We say we do, don't we? Oh, yeah, I said that. I've seen a comment. It niggles away. It's that when you get to the point, I don't care what you think about me. Yeah, but you think I care about what you say? You think I care about a comment from a guy who sat in his mum's basement? 3 divorces, his kids don't want to see him. He's 200 pounds overweight and he wants to comment on what the fuck I'm doing? Really? You think I'm going to listen to that? You're wasting your time, man. I'm not going to listen to that shit. He's living.
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll
Let's
talk
not worry
about
about the money. If you're starting a business, don't concentrate on the money. Leave it. If you're in business to earn money, forget it. You're never going to do it. Help people, five people, ask God for a bigger platform. The money will come. Don't worry about it. Never seen it not happen with almost 11,000 patients personally and millions of people, with TV and books and stuff. So
I had, there's a story about Maharishi, who is the founder of Transcendental Meditation. And he says someone asked him, he really wanted to have this like big platform and like help like millions of people across the world. And someone asked him, like, where are we going to get the money from, Maharishi? He goes, wherever it is at the current moment. And I was like, boom, he just knew, he saw. I think it's that once you really tap in to purpose, because again, as we've already stated, it's bigger than you, right? You're tapping into the heart, and the heart just has amazing ability and frequencies and messages it could send out there into the world that we're not even aware of, like how it even communicates, but it does. And it really can draw a lot of beautiful things to you.
Well, now we're getting into frequency and vibration, which is fascinating for me.
It is very fascinating, but it's very real. And it's like, but if you're not on purpose, you're not enjoying your life, or even like small p purpose, like actually finding time to have that emotional like connection to something that's meaningful to you, that also helps to express your value, then your frequency is going to be very low. And you're going to, instead of attract things to you, can actually be repelling things away, because you're probably going to be living with a lot of limiting beliefs, a lot of negative thoughts, and that is going to translate into negative vibration. That's just going to, keep things away from you, and almost like a kind of a bug repellent of purpose, if you will. John, where do you want to go?
Yeah. So, the show is Men Talking Mindfulness. A lot of what we talk about is masculinity and how society potentially forms what masculinity is supposed to look like. And I want to talk about men and their purpose. Like, what do you believe, in your opinion, Dr. Robb, is the biggest lie men are told about purpose? And then I'll add on to that. You say that the answer is in action. What kind of actions start moving people toward their purpose. So what's the biggest lie that men are told? And then in action, what's the kind of actions that people can take to start moving toward their purpose?
With all our research we've done with thousands and thousands of guys coming through the program, it's 90% have not been validated and not been approved because men don't do this. So the biggest lie I see is men don't have feelings. Men are supposed to be this tough guy, and you could be a tough guy. You know, I tried that. It didn't work well for me. My feelings were dead. You know, I kept drinking myself to death. But yeah, I think the lie is that once we, and I don't mean, and cut me off if I can't, I'll cut this out, whatever. But we're not doing men in dresses over here. We're not doing cry rooms. Okay. The man is to protect. The man is there. My wife is a beautiful woman. She's very independent. At the end of the day, I'm there to protect and provide for her. That's just the basic instinct of man, you know, to go out and do this. I think men need to stand up and stop sitting down. I mean, just stand up and start to be leaders. I mean, they just start talking a little bit, holding your chin up a little bit, standing a bit taller. They're taking that lead so that other people can look at them. And the one thing I don't like, and guys, if this is you, don't worry, we can work with you on this, is weak men. I do not like weak men. I like people that stand up, say what they're going to say powerfully, and march on and lead people to where it's supposed to be. I think men have kind of lost the way.
And how do you define a weak man, Dr. Robb? You just described like kind of, leader, but
somebody that never does anything, somebody that, you know, can't lead, somebody that, you know, doesn't have a purpose, somebody that moans and complains all the time, somebody that doesn't want a job, even though it's been offered 10 or 12 times, but always got something to say about it, always complaining. You know, then guys, the guys that you can just look at them and you're like, you could be so much more. But childhood trauma hits men more than women because everybody wants to talk about the feelings when it comes to the women. Nobody's going to talk about the feelings when it comes to men. Now, today, you know, guys like you guys and me have changed that, you know, over the past 4 or 5 years. And I think we're seeing men rise up again and start taking flight. And it's equality all around. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, it was men that built this. It was men that built America. It was men that built the girders, the skyscrapers. It was men that did the rail tracks, the trains. It was men that created an industry, an industrial industry where women can't really do it because of our strength. And I think that going back to that purpose is like, we need to be stronger, guys. You know, we need to get thicker skin. We need to do our own work, sit down with another guy or girl, do our work with somebody who knows what they're doing about, so you get whole. Once you get whole, you stand up and be counted because we're waiting for you, man. We're waiting for you. This is too much work for us. There's probably, I don't know how many millions out there in our position, guys, like I say, you guys and me, that can stand there and honestly say, I take the role of a man. I'm powerful. I'm intelligent. I'm good looking. I'm a leader. And no matter what happens, you connect with God and he will direct you to wherever he wants you to be. And I think that is, and the action around that, of course, is we have a 7.3 rule in this place. And that is that if you don't move forward to something that you've decided to do in the first 7.3 seconds, it's gone. It's the split in the neural pathway. So the 7.3 seconds. So if I'm sat on the sofa tonight, I have a big bag of chips, which I don't eat, big can of Coke, which I don't drink. But let's say, for instance, I'm with the wife, I'm watching TV and Arnold Schwarzenegger comes on. And I turns to the wife, go, you know something? They're going to go into the gym tomorrow. I know it. She knows it. The dogs know it. Even the cat walks past and goes, I don't think so. Because I'm not going to go. But in that 7.3 seconds that I've said that, if I get up off the couch, go to the bedroom, put the sneakers and stuff in, I take that to the door, either in my car or at the door I'm going to go out tomorrow morning, there's a good chance of me doing it. So that action needs to happen. Everything, these ideas that you get, guys, these I had a dream last night, I was ruling the world. They're not dreams. This is what you're supposed to be. But we block it off. We're very good at putting brakes on imaginations in this world because of past traumas, you know? And if we make one mistake, well, my dad was right. He told me I'd never amount to anything. It's like, we've got to stop that. We're not doing that anymore, guys. Do you know how many times the Beatles got turned down? Do you know how many times J.K. Rowling got turned down? She was told to go home, go on government benefits, look after your children, stay in that hellhole because women do not write novels. And yet she's the first woman billionaire ever. So that when you have something that doesn't work out, there's something better coming on. But what you can't do is start sitting down and, you know, feeling sorry for yourself. And I'm having another bad day. People, when they come in here, go, Doc, I've had a bad day yesterday. let me stop you there. Was it really a bad day? Or was it 5 minutes you strung on all day? Because I'm betting it was the 5 minutes. Come on, we've got to do better than this, guys. We've got to do better than this, and the world to be a better place.
Agreed. And I just want to give a little shout out to all the women out there too. I don't want to be like, oh, it's just a patriarchal, podcast. You know what I mean? Hey, like everyone's had their role in order to make this country that way that they have, and it's just like women just look a little bit different, like their job or like just their role typically in society, not like they can't put a building up with us, you know what I mean? That they can, but most of them don't, right? They have their own role in a lot of ways. And they definitely
nice
cross over
changing.
and blend. And,
it's nice.
It is.
Sure.
I'm talking 20, 30, 50 years ago when.
Of course. Yeah. And I just want to lay some content. Yeah. And our producer is like, don't be afraid to push back, Will, if you see something, hear something. I'm not just pushing back, Dr. Robb. I just want to give a little tribute to the women out there because they make a big fucking difference.
I also want to do that because we talked about one thing we don't like is weak men. Mm-hmm. And then we define what weak men, what that looks like. And we're not talking about necessarily physically weak. We're talking about those who aren't ready to step up and be a leader.
Not everybody can.
Exactly.
If he wants to. And again, let's put a little thing in there that, that you're not talking about. Some of the guys that have the opportunity but don't do nothing. The guys that have a chance to look to the families and, they don't take the opportunity. That's a weak man. I don't mean how many.
And it could be. It could also be a. It could be a weak person too, right? There's women out there who are incredibly strong who will step up and lead. There are women out there who do a lot of what we talked about, but then there are also women who won't take a stand. There are women who won't take an opportunity and do something with it too. So I think it's not just weak men that can kind of drive us all crazy. It's weak people.
Yeah. When I met my wife, she was the director of a university. Over, I don't know how much she was earning, well into six figures. She was powerful. She was confident. That's why I was attracted to her, because she was doing what she said she was going to do. Her dad always told her, do not rely on somebody else to pay your bills. You pay your own bills. You work hard. And that's what, as soon as I met her, it's like, oh my God, this is the girl I want to marry. Because she was strong, but most of us are not born strong. We have to go through this. And I think the education from the suffering that we all go through. I've seen women do things men can't do. I've seen men do things that women can't do. I've seen them all complete when they join together and do things. So definitely at different age. I just think that your identity, what's your identity today? Because if you find it, we can better other people around us.
Great point. Really good point. One thing that's thrown around and to kind of create that person on the inside and to get more disciplined and a kind of a term that's often thrown around nowadays is non-negotiables. Let's drop into there a little bit and how do we define what that is? I'm sure you know what that is, and I can help if not. And also how do you discover these, which are so important, these non-negotiables, in order to stepping up, getting out of weak mode, right, and stepping up and being who you can be.
Define non-negotiables a bit for me.
So things that are very important to you that you do on a daily or weekly basis in order to kind of activate more of who you are and what you want to be doing. Whether it's having a good healthy body or meditating every day or hydrating properly or going to your AA meeting or something like that. You know what I mean? In order to stay clean and on the path of who you want to be and stay in that identity that you are.
Yeah. What's important is routines. So if you wake up in the morning and you first you do is you go outside and you lift some weights and, you do some squats or something and breakfast and stuff like that to make you a better person, then you need to stick to that. If you get married, you have a girlfriend or whatever, a boyfriend, you got to stick to that because what happens with the brain is we're all in patterns around the brain. We're all in patterns. And the easiest way I can describe this is, let's say you get on a bus and you go out Caesar's Palace, you watch the fight, you have a few beers, whatever it is, and you all pile back on the bus. Which seat do you sit in? You sit in the one you went. So there's all patterns around that. So the non-negotiables for me is keeping them patterns through relationships, keeping them true to yourself. That's the hard one until it becomes a working part of the brain. But I think if you hold yourself accountable, if you write things down, I get my guys to write 7 things down every day that they're going to complete, whether that's having dinner, lunch or whatever. And we stick to knocking them let's say 7 things off during the day. If we miss one of those, the day's turned around and bit us on the ass. We have to have these routines. Every famous person has routines. Every weak person has routines. It's what's best for you. What keeps you motivated? What gets your body working? How can you be the best person today and even better than tomorrow is these non-negotiables, and you should stick by them. The biggest one I like is the getting the children back, reuniting families. If that's what you live for every single day, then that's what you have to stick to. You can't do something one day and then forget about it the next day. The brain doesn't work like that. You start causing complications of giving the brain choices, and the normal human brain will take a lazy choice over an active choice. So when we come to the behavioral science bit, when men and women are not meant to sit down. We're not built for sitting down, but we always do. So that's built into your routine. And it goes for that. I walk a mile every single day. I walk the dogs every single day. It's going to pay dividends in the end. It really is. But you have to be you. You see, it's not up to me to make my wife happy and vice versa. That's an impossibility. I buy her a ring. She's happy. What's internal? What are your non-negotiables through work, through love life, through, pleasure, through training, whatever it is, and don't come away from them. And this is my opinion. This is not something with research, is I think it bodes for a happy life. I really do.
Well, let's talk about that end, the end of the life, if you will. For each of us, Will, you, me, Dr. Robb, what do we want people to say about us at our funeral? Is that something that we can imagine can help to drive our purpose? That question. And then truly, what is it, Will? What is it that you want people to say? Dr. Robb, what is it that you want people to say? I'll start with you, Will.
I mean, I really, or just what's going to be on my epitaph, I think it'd be good, or to keep it short, but to, he lifted 1 million men into greater consciousness and happiness and health. Like that's where I want to be, and that's where I want. And at my funeral, I want, people to be saying nice things and to be further the connection that I've tried to connect within themselves. Maybe new friendships or something like that at my own funeral or something like that. But lots of joy, lots of happiness, and that's where I want to be.
That was a long epitaph.
Well,
I'm just fucking with you.
I'm going to have a long one, John. It's going to be like 150 feet high, dude. All right. Carved in the stone.
There you go.
A monolith for my students.
There you go. What about you, Robb?
Casting the shadows on ours, John.
Right.
Yeah.
Mine's pretty simple. I mean, I just, he helped a lot of people. That was it. He's a good guy, helps a lot of people. You can become quite controversial with doing what I do. You can certainly have lots of haters when you've got a platform. But I know this. I believe in God. I believe God saved me off the streets and he guides me every single day. When I get to heaven and I get led and God's stood there and I get introduced to him for the first time in real life, I know what he's not going to ask me, guys. He's not going to ask me, how much was that Bentley? How much was it? He's not going to ask me that, guy. He's going to ask me one simple question, I believe. How many people did you help? How many people did you bring? That's what he's going to ask, man. And I want a big number. I want a big number. If we get to over 1 billion, I mean, that's what I'm aiming for, but with TV and stuff like that. But
sure,
he helps a lot of people.
Well, I mean, you should break that number with this episode alone, right? I mean, yes! 1 billion people at least listen to this.
Absolutely, good catch.
All right. Well, I'll say, there's that saying that the purpose of life is to plant. What is it? Plant trees under which you will never sit, or something like that. Under which shade you will never sit. Something to that effect. I would love people to say that I planted a lot of trees for a lot of other people to sit under. So
I love that.
I think that's going to help us define our purpose, right? Is figuring out what we would like people to say at our funeral. I think that's a great way to kind of frame that for people. Will, I'll turn it over to you, my friend.
Yeah. Well, last thing, Dr. Robb, like what's like one truth that you want to like burn into everyone's mind and ears today from this episode about purpose?
Everything and anything is possible. And, People don't believe me when I say that. It's quantum physics backs us up. That's the science, guy. It backs us up that everything's possible. You remember, you probably won't remember, but this guy called Roger Bannister in England.
Oh, yeah. 4 Minute Mile.
Oh, he was.
Now, before that, it was unheard of. Once he did it, everybody started to do it. So let's try and break the 4 minute mile today, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. And that's
exactly.
At one point, I ran track and cross country growing up. At one point, my coach, this is back in 96, 95, 96. He made me memorize some of the top runners in the world, all of whom had broken the mile or the 4 minute barrier. And since then, many, many, many others have broken it. I sure would hate to try to remember that list today. Because once it was broken, once people stepped on that track, knowing that it had been broken, they could move forward.
And everything is like endless from there. It's like, what else? Look at the Wright brothers. They were almost put in an asylum. We can't, they did it. And look at aviation today. It's like, I want to be one of those, like, we pride ourselves on being the leaders of what we do. We're innovative. We're years ahead of our time. It's stuff like that gets me excited today. It's like, God, it's never going to happen in my lifetime, but people are going to say, oh my God, that guy was good. He was years ahead. His treatment, oh my God, why didn't we listen to it? It was amazing. I want people to say that as well. It's just like, we're never going to get it. Beautiful what you said, John, is we're never going to sit under that tree and get that shade. We're not going to do it. We're not meant to it.
Right. Others will.
Right.
Others will.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that to kind of almost summarize like this, it's like, and coming back to what you talked about, that man that was having, the Mustang man who was having trouble dating. It's like you showed him the possibility. You gave him the vision. I think that's one thing that can be very helpful for people that are feeling lost, feeling lonely, feeling disconnected from something that's meaningful. And you also said it, Dr. Robb, too. It's like, you can do anything, but like look at and watch and be inspired by people that have done great things that you want to do as well. Listen to their story, read their books, get out there and then start taking those steps. And you got to get off the fence, and you got to take, and it doesn't even matter, like, do the best you can with the first step you're going to take. And it's going to be a very rocky start, but just keep going and then get help. You know what I mean? Ask for help, go into some sort of group if you need to stay inspired, to get those questions answered. And it's one of the reasons we had this show today, Dr. Robb, was like, we did an episode, I guess in season, I don't know, 3 or something like that, or early on for year 2 or 3, on finding purpose. And it really ranked very high amongst all the episodes that we've had, because it is something that a lot of men and a lot of people are struggling with.
I always say one thing, but to my patients who go, when they don't believe in themselves, and I say this to them. So here's what we'll do tomorrow. I want you to bring all the evidence that you can't do this. I'm going to bring all the evidence that you can. And when the judge locks you up for contempt of court, you might believe me, because you're going to turn up with a piece of paper. I'm going to turn up with 400 boxes full of paper that you can do it. Because I've seen miracles every day. I've seen people taken to places they should never see. One of my biggest says is, let's do shit we're not supposed to do, guys. I'm not supposed to. Really? You're going to come from the projects and homeless, and you can, let's do shit we're not supposed to do. And
that's the title of the show this episode.
Let's do shit we're supposed to do. Boom.
Absolutely. Well, you also talked in the green room, Dr. Robb, about, there it is. I was going to say, yeah, you're going to give some books away. Apparently, you want to give to our audience. This is Dr. Robb's book is called Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. You talked about it earlier. I guess that's your daughter that said it also on.
Yeah, let's do it together while I got a photograph. Hang on a sec. All right,
there you go.
Put it up. There you go.
I got
beautiful. Yeah. It's just again. But what we'll do, this is real quick. That's my daughter, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. Who now, as of 4 years ago, after 30 years of estrangement, is my lead therapist in my Manchester office.
Oh, no way.
I don't know whether I was there last time. So a couple of years ago, she got in contact, middle of the night, Dad, I want to see you. We flew over there. After 30 years, I was so scared. I was crying with my wife, walking around to her house. We got outside and I couldn't knock at the door. I just couldn't. All this bad, what kind of father was you? And she opened the door unexpectedly, and we hugged and we cried. What feel like 10 hours was probably 20 seconds. And she took me by my hand, guys, and she walked me into her living room and she handed me my 3-month-old granddaughter.
Oh.
Right there. There's no one you're doing the right thing, man. The rest is de minimis. It really is. So that's her there. That's me on a visit, wasted completely. So it's a fun book. It's an educational book. There's some good black and white photos. It's wrote as if my daughter has wrote it. So the gaps inside that don't make sense is freaking awesome. Giving just for this show, though, guys.
Okay, so how are we giving those away, Dr. Robb?
Well, anybody that mentions the show, anybody that mentions John, Will, or myself, you can either message me or the guys or the show, or message me or come and get the Facebook or whatever you want to do. If anybody hears from 10 people going forward, I'll send you this. I'll pay for the shipping and everything on one condition. You've got to give it to somebody else when you're finished reading it. And then give me feedback. You know, it's an amazing. We've sold a lot of these books. Okay, we have never took a dime from these because this wasn't made to make money. It's like you'll never see me on programs. Hey, so listen, call me because I can help you. Okay. No, the podcasts are not about that for me. Can you give shit away? All right, and can we save a life? I don't give a shit if anyone calls me or not. It's not. I don't care. I mean, I don't mean that coldly. It's like, it doesn't make a difference if you do and you come on, great. But we're not in there for that. If I can give stuff away, you know, and we're starting the nonprofit soon. So in a couple of months or whatever, you find yourself in a really shitty situation where the wife's left or husband's left, you've got no money or something, call us, man. Because you can bet we'll have a donation for you that might change your life.
Yeah, and I think last time you actually gave out your number.
I did.
Yeah, I did.
For people to text you and call you, and I've done it, and he responds. So I don't know if you're comfortable doing that again, Dr. Robb, but I'll throw it over to you.
I almost said it already, but yeah, guys. So here's the deal. The biggest one for me, and it goes back to the men, is: are you doing what you said you're going to do, or did you just do it for show? Are you the same guy off? You know, when I'm walking around and there's nobody around, I drop a piece of litter on the floor. Do I pick it up and put it in the trash can? I want to be that guy. So 214-600-0210 is my personal cell phone number. Now, let me preempt to that by saying this. I am very busy, but if you're in that place, guys, and most people know what I'm talking about, if you're in that place where life doesn't look too attractive at once, I would rather you text me than hear of your suicide or death next week. I will give you a 15-minute, not going to cost you anything, pep talk that'll change your life. And you know, if it doesn't, this is where people think I'm crazy. I'm going to send you $100 for wasting your time. How's that?
Wow, that's beautiful. Thanks for sharing that again.
Give it back, communicate with people, compliment people, guys. And we'll finish on this classic that I always tell in conferences. Guy goes to the Golden Gate Bridge. He jumps off and commits suicide. The police get there. They pull him out of the water. They find his identity. They go back to his apartment to try and find an next of kin. What they found was a letter on the kitchen table. And it read, I'm going to walk to the Golden Gate Bridge and throw myself off and commit suicide because I just can't live anymore. The walk was an hour, by the way, there. Unless, on the way there, anybody smiles at me, says good morning or hello, and I will stop dead. I'll turn around, I'll go back, and I'll try again tomorrow. Question, guys. How many people have you walked past today that's heading to the Golden Gate Bridge?
Wow. Oof.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. I don't know how to wrap it up aside from that.
I see a lot of lonely people in New York. Just really quick, Dr. Robb, how come Instagram or how can people find you?
I think the easiest way for everything is if you're listening, not watching, I spell my name with 2 B's, ROBBKELLY.com. All the socials are on there. Come and say hi. Come and message me. You know, I do a TikTok every morning at 8 Central time. We have a massive, we have like, sometimes we get like 14 viewers. It's amazing. We know
what that's like.
If you stumble upon us, you know, I'll be there. I'll be there, guys.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Robb, this has been fantastic. Thank you again for being with us. And we only have 97 more episodes before we have to give you a big glass of orange juice.
Yes.
a bottle of orange juice. Guys, we'll spring for the good stuff.
I love coming on here, guys. You know that. And I want to thank you. So now everyone's listening is for what you do, guys. It's absolutely mind blowing. You know, people see you on here week out, and you're laughing and we have fun and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, man, the millions of people's lives that you guys save with the ripple effect is beyond anything I could ever do. So, you know, you're professional, you're amazing. I admire you guys, and I thank you for all the people you've helped.
Thank you, brother.
This
Appreciate
is our way
you.
of saying hello. So, all right.
And
well,
smiling.
and smiling. Exactly. Well, Dr. Robb, pleasure. John, always a pleasure. Everyone that's listening, thank you. And share this, share this with somebody. It can really maybe brighten up their day and bring a smile, and maybe they can come back and try another day. So it's been great. Thank you again.
There you go. Till next time. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Robb. Peace.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you walk away with some new tools and insights to guide you on your life journey. New episodes are being published every week, so please join us again for some meaningful discussion. For more information, please check out mentalkingmindfulness.com.